Hey everybody, welcome. We're going to give this just a moment to send out the notifications, let everyone get on live. I'm also pulling it up on my computer just in case Facebook decides to be annoying and not show me your comments. So I will have it on my computer screen so that I can make sure and respond and not be some annoying chick who just likes to talk. So we're going to give this a couple more seconds, give everyone a chance to hop on. I know 9 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday is a weird time. A lot of people are super busy at this time of day, but it's what worked for me, and that's one of the great things about what I do is I get to work around my own schedule. So for those of you who are catching this recording, thank you for coming back at a time that's more convenient for you. And if you have any questions as you go through this, please feel free to comment. Tag me if it will let you so that I can be sure to see them, but I will watch for your comments and questions and try to get back to you as soon as I can. Hey Amanda, we're giving it just another minute to give everyone a chance to get on. Hey Andrea, make sure that I have everything I need here. Good morning. It's showing me your comments. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. We'll see if it continues to show them to me as we go through. Okay, we have a few people on. I'm sure a few more will get on as they get the notifications. But hey Anna, good morning. I don't want the recording to be annoying because we waited forever, and I also don't want to keep you guys forever. Amanda, I'm super happy that you're here. Hopefully we can all come away inspired to make some changes and be a little bit better as moms. So just really quickly, I want to introduce myself. We will have a lot of people watching this that are not as familiar with my story. My name is Candace McDermott. I've been married to my high school sweetheart, coming up on 16 years, and we have 4 kids. Their ages are 11, 9, 6, and 4, almost 5. I really have to think about that to be able to rattle off their ages. But what I'm discovering is that as a mom, I'm not very good at this whole mom gig, and I don't necessarily love it all the time. And that may sound horrible to some of you, but I know to some of you that will really resonate. I've always wondered why I didn't love being on the floor with my toddlers, playing with their toys, or I didn't love reading stories to them, or, you know, just those things that moms are supposed to do and love to do. I've just never loved doing it. I love my children. Love my children. They are my whole world, but I just have never loved some of those things that moms are supposed to do. And I do them anyway sometimes, and sometimes I don't. But the older my kids have gotten, the more I've come to realize that my relationship with them is going to make or break my ability to mother them as they come into the teenage years. My 11-year-old, holy Hannah Montana, the hormones are strong with that one. It's starting already, and we have had a roller coaster even just the last 6 months. The last 2 months, we've really run into some stuff, and I won't share that now because it's her story, and maybe a part of her story that she doesn't need the world to know about. But we've really been through some struggles, and I've really felt like I couldn't connect with her, and I felt lost, and I felt hopeless, and I felt desperate, and I felt like I was failing, and like I was not prepared for what's coming in the teenage years, and I have 3 more, and she's not even a teenager yet. So I really started to look at the way I mother them, and started to wonder what there is that I could change now to be able to have that kind of relationship with them as teenagers that I've always wanted to have. I want to be the mom that they're comfortable coming to talk about their troubles or their problems or whatever. I want to be that mom that is, of course I'm there for them, but I want them to use that. I want them to trust me and to be willing to come and talk to me. And the closer we get to the teen years, the more terrified I am that I'm failing. I'm just going to check in really quickly here. I love seeing you guys' comments. Kim, hopefully your internet straightens out soon. Okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one. And I figured I couldn't be. I can't be the only mom who's ever done this job and thought, I am not qualified. Who in the world, who in their right minds thought it was a good idea to give me 4 kids? I am not qualified for this gig. And all my life growing up, I said, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom, and that was what I wanted to do. But the older I've gotten, the more I've realized it wasn't the momming that I wanted, it was the stay-at-homing. It was the lazy part of me that was like, I'm going to stay at home all day. And now I realize that I chose the hardest profession on the planet, and I should have just got a career. That's not true, but there are some days where I just think, what was I thinking? So as a kid, I used to tell myself, I am not going to be a yeller. I come from a family of yellers, and I love my mom, and I love my sister. My older sister is 10-ish years older than me, so when I was a young teen, I practically lived with her because I was helping her raise her babies, and just, it was funner that way. And she was a yeller. Nothing against their parenting styles. It's just kind of how we've all been raised. It's kind of come down through the generations. And I used to watch them and think, I'm not going to yell at my kids. So lofty and high and mighty. Woo. And here I am, almost 12 years into my mom gig, and I'm a yeller. Oh man, you guys, I'm a yeller. And even in the midst of one of my rampages, I will be thinking to myself, oh, stop it, there's a better way, there's got to be a better way, but I don't know how to get them to listen. I don't know how to get them to listen. I just don't know, and I always resort to yelling because they listen-ish when I yell. So it's really been a struggle for me I don't want to accept that part of me. I don't want to just accept, I'm a yeller. It's come down through the generations. It's just the way we parent. And I turned out all right, so they'll be fine. I don't want to accept that. I'm in a stage in my life where I try to tackle the things about myself that I don't love, and I try to change them. Because I can. Because none of us are stagnant. None of us are stuck where we're at. If there is something about you that you don't love, change it. Change it. It is your life. It is your body. It is your mind. You have the power to change. So that is something that I have been, I'm a Beachbody coach. So I have transformed my body. Like, I don't even hardly recognize the girl from 4 years ago. I have transformed my mindset in general. I was negative Nancy, and now I'm happy-go-lucky. I've learned through personal development how to train my brain to look on the bright side of things, really, simply put. I have transformed my faith. I'm LDS, and I grew up in the church, and I always had the testimony that's just there. And over the last several years, I have begun to really study and work for a testimony that wasn't just given to me as a child. And I've done that. And I feel closer than ever to my Heavenly Father because of that. So I can change. I have transformed so many things in my life. So this one part, it was just nagging at me, the yeller in me. It was just nagging at me that I don't want to just accept it and just move on, and just say, well, it's hard, but whatever. 12 more years and my kids will be out and we'll see how they do. I didn't want to do it that way. But I wasn't really sure where to start. I wasn't really sure what to do. And then I was given an assignment to speak in church a few weeks ago, back in February. I was given an assignment to speak about Christ-like attributes. So, I started doing some research about Christ's attributes. What are his attributes that we want to take upon us? And I quickly realized that I did not want to just talk about all these attributes because we know them. We know all of these great traits that our Savior had. We know them. And I didn't want to just have another talking about the virtues that we should all have. I quickly took a new direction and decided to talk about how to create those attributes or cultivate those attributes in ourselves. Not just, generic seminary answers, but I wanted to have some steps. I wanted to have an action plan, because without a plan, any goal is just a dream. You guys have all heard that before, but it is so true. So I wanted to be able to have a plan of how I could implement an attribute in my life and be able to share that in my talk. And so I ended up using, if you're not LDS, I apologize, a lot of lingo here. I'll try to explain it, but don't get lost with me. I went to Preach My Gospel, which is a manual that our missionaries use in the missionary field as they are teaching prospective members. And there's one chapter specifically about developing Christ-like attributes. And it was awesome. It was so perfect. It's been right there all this time. And it gives you, I think, 6 steps, step by step. Here's what you do if you want to develop a Christ-like attribute. So that's what I shared in my talk. But as I was preparing for it, I decided that I wanted to put it to the test. So for a week before my talk, I decided I'm going to choose an attribute and I'm going to implement it in my life using these steps. Well, there's a lot of really cool attributes. There's charity, there's kindness, there's service. I mean, there's so many things you could choose from. And what did my brain and my heart make me focus on? Yeah, patience. Of course. We all tell the jokes. Don't pray for patience or you'll get it, right? Patience. That was the one I had to work on. And I knew as soon as I started this process, I knew that this was what I needed to help me to make the changes I wanted to make in my life as a mother. I knew that my yelling disease, I'm totally calling it that, because it's so bad. It just eats you alive. But I knew that patience was the root. Lack of patience really was the root of me resorting to yelling at my kids all the time. So I started to work on that. I started to work on patience using the steps in Preach My Gospel. And they're really pretty basic. First, you choose your attribute and you define it. Go to the Bible dictionary, go to Webster's dictionary, and define patience. So I did that and I was like, okay, yeah, that's what patience is. And then it walks you through, I did some research in my scriptures. I just looked up any and all scriptures that had anything to do with patience, and that was interesting, especially the ones that had to do with our Savior, because he was absolutely the most patient man on the planet. The dumb things that people said to him, and he just would kind of look at them and be like, really? So that was really interesting for me, and it kind of helped cement the definition of patience for me. And then I was directed to have some steps to implement in my life of how to be patient. But the one thing that I wanted to share with you about this whole process of how to implement something like this, the one thing that has stuck with me that I have needed to use daily is that you pray for help in developing this attribute. So as a mother, as I try to develop patience with my children, I need all the help I can get. You guys, it's hard. There are some days where I'm like, that felt great. It was such a great day. I'm so excited with where this is going. And then there are days where like, oh, yeah, I was supposed to be trying to be patient today and I failed. Epic fail. So there are just good days and bad days and in the middle days, and I need help. Can't do this by myself. And it pointed out that you can't just pray once. You can't just say, okay, Heavenly Father, I want to be more patient, so will you help me to develop patience? Thank you, amen. Done. That's not gonna cut mustard. You need to have a serious conversation. And I don't care if you I don't care what faith you are. If you believe in God or if you believe in something else, whomever you believe in, pray for the guidance and the help. that you need to make this change in your life, and pray often. I pray every morning for help being more patient with my children. And I'm trying to get into the habit of saying a quick prayer, please help me, when I'm getting frustrated, when I can feel it building. Please help me. Please help me stay patient. Please help me know what to say. Just a quick, in my head, Heavenly Father, please help me. And I don't always think of that. I'm still working on it. It's only been a few weeks, so I need to be kind to myself. And you need to be kind to yourself as well as you start to make these changes. But that is the one thing that I would give you from the religious standpoint, is just ask for that help often, because you can't do it alone. None of us can, okay? But that's also why I wanted to do this webinar, so that we can kind of help each other, right? A tribe of women who are working toward the same goal is so powerful. So when we do this together, we have a lot of reminders and we have a lot of support. We're that much more likely to succeed. Okay, moving on. So from there, patience. And I decided that I wasn't just going to focus on patience in general, but obviously I was focusing on patience with my children. And I decided to focus my reading, my personal development reading. If you don't know what personal development is, it's reading books or watching videos, listening to podcasts that are uplifting and help you to tackle something you're struggling with. You might know them as self-help books. That's what they are, but they're amazing and they're so powerful. And I read them every day. Every day I read personal development. And I decided for a period to focus my personal development reading on my children. So I ended up with this book. Love this book. The 5 Love Languages of Children. Make sure you guys can get a good look at that. Gary Chapman and Ross Campbell. So Gary Chapman was the author of the original 5 Love Languages book. And I spoke about this in another group that I did, maybe back in January, I believe. The 5 Love Languages is geared more toward couples, but the love languages apply to everyone. They apply to all of us and our relationships with everyone. So there are now several versions of this book for different relationships. There's even one for business, I think. But this one for children was really enlightening for me because it's different with kids. So I'll just give you a quick overview of the love languages. Yes, Tara, there is. It is so good. It is so good. I really enjoyed it to the point where it was almost like I couldn't put it down. And I actually stopped highlighting. I usually highlight parts that I love in my books, but it was slowing me down too much. I just wanted to keep reading. So I actually didn't highlight very much. So let me give you a brief rundown on the love languages, and then I want to share with you how they apply to children. Very briefly, you really just need to read the book. I'm not an expert. The 5 love languages are words of affirmation, physical touch, I always forget them, gifts, service, and quality time. Okay? So with your spouse, the idea is that we each speak 1 or 2 primary love languages. My love languages are quality time and service. Totally. Hands down, if I don't have a date night or if my husband's not helping around the house, I get really pissy. Straight up, I will admit it. Those are my love languages. My husband's love languages are words of affirmation, sometimes service. When I leave town and I have dinners prepared for him, he just like grovels at my feet. And then also physical touch. So it's different with adults. Usually we have 1 or 2 primary love languages, and the other ones, they just don't really do it for us. You know, so for my husband, if I give him a gift, he's just like, oh, cool, thank you. But it's not an expression of love for him. And if he is to, what's a good example? Physical touch for me, not a huge one. So, you know, giving me a hug, I don't know. It is still one of mine. I like them all. Gifts is probably at the bottom of my list. So when he gets me a gift, I appreciate it, but I also kind of feel awkward. It's not like an expression of love for me so much as just, I don't know. So we all speak different love languages, okay? And it's not going to be the same. We're not going to speak the same love language as our spouse. And what we tend to do is we tend to show our love with our love language. So my love language is service. So I've spent our whole marriage serving my husband, trying to have the house clean when he gets home, trying to have dinner on the table, and trying to make sure he has clean clothes for work, all of those things. And for him, he appreciates it, but it doesn't show him that I love him. To him, he's not seeing love. If I don't speak his love language, he feels like I don't love him. So we speak our own love language, and we have to learn to speak the love language of the person we're trying to show love to. Okay? That just confused the heck out of you guys. It might have, but bear with me. So there's a big difference with kids. We still have all the same 5 love languages, okay? That is universal for all human beings. And as you read these books, you'll find yourself being like, oh yeah, you'll totally, it's perfect. With children, they may have a primary love language. They probably will not develop it until they're 5 or 6 years old, and even then they can change frequently as they go into adolescence and the teenage years. Their love languages can change without any warning. So you really have to be educated. You have to be able to watch for that and to know when you see that shift in them. And when children are under 4 years old, they don't have a primary love language. They need them all. They need all 5 love languages. So it's very different from the way we apply it in a marriage. And even as they get older and they do develop primary love languages, they still need all 5 love languages. They need you to speak all 5 languages to them in order to really show your love. So, for example, words of affirmation has been one that I'm really focusing on because I'm trying to stop yelling. And I've been really watching my kids as I use this. As I use words of affirmation, I will I will try a lot harder to be intentional about what I say to them. I will try to be more complimentary and try to be more encouraging and less critical. And I am so surprised, you guys. I'm so mortified at how often I am critical of my kids. Even when we are giving them a compliment, oh, you did really well, but maybe next time you can do better. Yesterday, I left my kids all home. My oldest babysat for a few minutes while I went to the grocery store. And I came home and they had surprised me by cleaning the house. It was so great. They had vacuumed and Kylie was doing the dishes. She was almost done. And I looked in the garbage and we had a pot of rice from the night before that didn't get put away, which I totally would have saved, and she had dumped it. And I almost gave in to a habit of being like, oh, Kylie, why'd you throw that away? That was a lot of rice. It was fine. Why didn't you put that in the fridge? And then I realized, I was like, oh my gosh, I just came home and my 11-year-old has roped her 3 younger siblings into cleaning the whole house as a surprise for me. And all I can think is, why'd you throw away the rice? Oh my gosh. It hurts me to realize that this is how I've spoken to my children for their entire lives, that I am more critical than I am loving, and that all of my loving words are countered by criticism in some way. Oh, you got a great report card, but why is there a B? It hurts my heart to realize that I've spoken to my kids that way for so long. And that is something I'm really trying to change with all of them. I haven't yet decided for sure what any of their primary love languages are. Right now, I'm trying to speak them all. I'm trying to change my habits so that I can speak them all. In case I'm wrong, I don't want to be like, oh, hers is words of affirmation. I'm going to focus on that and then be wrong, and it's really quality time. I don't trust myself enough to make that judgment call, so I'm speaking all 5. I'm trying to work on all 5. So words of affirmation, they thrive on your, they thrive when you tell them how great they're doing. They thrive when you compliment them and when you affirm them. That's what it is. It's words of affirmation. They thrive when you confirm that they're amazing, incredible, beautiful spirits. They are amazing, and they have so much potential, and any mother would say that about her kids. But how many mothers say that to their kids without any qualification, without any ifs, ands, or buts? How many of us just straight up tell our kids, you are perfect. You are so wonderful, just the way you are. Sorry, I didn't expect that. So words of affirmation is one that I've been working on, obviously. Also, quality time. If you're at all like me and you're the mom who's like, oh, you don't want to play Pokemon. I don't want to play Pokemon. That doesn't sound fun to me.
Mom,
yes, dear?
can I pick 2 movies if I don't get any books?
We'll talk about it when we're at the library, okay?
Okay.
Go finish getting dressed. Okay. So, quality time. I don't love doing the things that my kids love to do. I don't. And it's really easy to let that make you feel like a bad mom, but it is what it is. Whether you love it or you don't, you gotta do it. You have to do it. I have to get down on the floor and let my sons teach me how to play Pokemon. I have to be willing to put aside my work and watch a movie with my 4-year-old when he asks to snuggle. I have to be willing to have a game night and put away my phone and just focus on a game that maybe I don't love, but my kids love it and they have so much fun. I have to be willing to do that, to show them that I love them enough to be with them. One of the things that I did to try and start implementing quality time, especially with my 2 youngest, we do dates. We do 1 day a week is date night, and one of the kids goes with mom or dad, and we have a rotation schedule. So every month, each kid gets a date, and every 2 months, each kid gets a date with each parent. So we rotate. So we have that, but it's not enough. It's not enough. We have to be able to spend time with them more regularly. So one of the things that I did, especially with my little ones, because I'm certain they're more sensitive to it, is I started doing bedtime stories. Now, you guys, bedtime sucks. Bad. Especially right now, we're in this new house and we're completing our basement. So we have 4 kids crammed into 2 tiny bedrooms. It's not fun. It's annoying. And every night ends up being a holler fest, like, stop talking, brush your teeth, stay in your bed, you know. You guys have been there. So I really have been trying, and this last week has been horrid. But I was doing really well for a while, and I really was trying to make bedtime different. And trying to be a little bit less rush to get them in bed so I can be done. You know, trying to change that mindset. And so I decided to start doing bedtime stories for my little ones. My big kids are independent readers. They've got their giant books and they don't need mom to read to them. But my little ones still love it when I read to them. So I take turns with each of them. They each get 1 story and, you know, just a few seconds of cuddling and kissing and touching and hugging and just loving. And then I go on, and you know what? They go right to sleep. They don't get out of bed again. They don't fight. They don't cause a fight with the older sibling. They go right to sleep, and it is beautiful, and I feel better. I feel like I have done something successful as a mom. So that was one time that I decided I really needed to tackle was bedtime, because every single night ended up being a failure, and all I could think is, my babies are going to bed, and the last thing they hear is mom or dad yelling at them. Gosh, how frustrating. So that is something that I've done for quality time, and there's a million things you can do. The book gives an entire list for every love language. Let me see if I can find one of them for you. Look at that. That whole page and that whole page are all ideas of things you can do for acts of service for your kid. So I won't go through all 5 of the love languages just because I don't want to keep you here all day, and you really need to read the book. But this is something that has been helping me so much, and it really has been changing the way I talk to my kids. It really, really has. It's helped me to, he said one thing that really struck me in here, and I don't have it highlighted, so I can't quote him, but he said, if you phrase the things you need your kids to do, if you phrase it as a request rather than a demand, it's a whole different ballgame. Like, they hear it completely differently. If you say, go do the dishes, then they're like, you know how that goes. If you say, hey, would you please go do the dishes for me? That simple change. It's not even giving them an out. Not really, because it's not like they can say no to mom. They know better. But just that simple change, making it their choice to go do the dishes rather than they've been ordered to do the dishes. That has made such a difference, especially with my big kids. Especially with my big kids. When I will just phrase it that way to them and phrase it as a request, every time they're like, they might still not be happy about it. They'll be like, okay, I can do that. You know, they're not like, okay, mom. But they go and do it, and they don't fight me, and they don't like head for the hills as soon as my back is turned, right? So that simple tweak, just requesting instead of demanding, they are human beings. They have free agency. Every human on this planet was sent here with free agency. We were sent here to make our own choices. And as parents, it's a really fine line between guiding our kids and teaching them and protecting them and allowing them their agency. And that is something I've really struggled with, but it's something I've been working on, and it's made a tremendous difference. My big kids have started to talk to me more. They've started to share their stories with me more about their day and things like that. And I hadn't even realized that they weren't doing that anymore. So it's really started to make a big change in our relationship. And the other thing that he pointed out that I think is super important. So we can show love to our kids through these 5 magical love languages, right? We can also destroy our children with their love languages. If we use one of their primary love languages to discipline them, we can just tear them apart. So if you have a child whose primary love language trends toward words of affirmation and you're yelling at them, they are heartbroken. Absolutely heartbroken. Because if they can soar and just feel so amazing and feel so loved just by being told how wonderful they are, just by words, then how do you think it affects them when you say, you're so lazy? Why are you so naughty? How do you think that affects a child who speaks words of affirmation as a love language? Absolutely breaks my heart to even think about it. I'm not going to cry again. We're not going to go there. How about quality time? If quality time is their primary love language and they just love being with you and they don't like to be alone, they want to be where everyone's at, and you send them to their room for a timeout, you are absolutely breaking their hearts. Absolutely tearing them down. So his suggestion was to use different methods of discipline based on their love languages. Maybe gifts is not their love language. If you come home from a trip and you give your kid a gift and they're like, oh, thanks, Mom, and then, it's kind of forgotten before too long, that's not their love language. So if that's the case, then when they need to be disciplined, you can take privileges away. You can say, okay, you're losing your book. You're going to lose TV time. You're going to lose your favorite stuffed animal until you complete what you're supposed to do, or whatever. If their primary love language is touch, and you can really see this with young kids because they want to sit on your lap all the time, and they always wrap their arms around your legs, or they'll like climb all over you. Their love language is touch, physical touch. Now, what do you think happens to that poor baby when you spank their butt? I'm not going to lie, I have no problem with a spanking. I'm not that mom who's like, oh, don't touch my head. That's not me. I will paddle my kids if they deserve it. But with this new view, with this new, focal point, If I find out that one of my kids' primary love language is touch, I am not going to spank that baby, because that will absolutely break their hearts. So that is something to watch for as you start to learn what your kids' love languages are. You cannot use their love language to discipline them. That's like holding your love hostage and saying, I only love you if you're good. That's the only time I love you. If you're not being good, I don't love you anymore. That's what that does when you use their primary love language to discipline them. Yeah, Kelsey. And I think that my 4-year-old is still in a stage where touch is really important to him. He's almost 5, so he should start breaking into specific love languages at some point, but I can tell that touch is still a big deal to him, because he likes to play with my hair, and he's always climbing on me, even though he's a giant, so I know that touch is still important to him, and that I have not spanked that child for a long time, especially not since I read this, because I realized how detrimental that is, and it's not disciplining them, it's breaking them, and I don't want to break my kids. I don't want to break their spirits. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to build them up and to teach them. And when you break someone's spirit, they can no longer learn. They give up. They're hopeless. I don't want to do that to my 4-year-old, to my 6-year-old. Here we go again. Let me check these comments so that I can back up here a bit. Yep, Amanda, they're touchy-feely. They just want to know that you love them. Give them a hug, give them a high five, give them a fist bump all the time. Put your hand on their hair just as you're walking by. Those simple little actions, if touch is one of their love languages, those simple little actions make their little hearts just swell. Mommy loves me. That's all it takes. It's so simple that it's ridiculous that we haven't been doing this all along, but it makes such a difference. Brittany, for sure, I would highly recommend this book. And it's a really small one. It's a really easy one to read. And there are lots of examples, so it's a lot of stories. I will read it again many times, I think, to keep me going. So, those are the love languages as applied to children. So, what I am doing, this is what I'm doing, this is my recommendations to you. Patience. Pray for patience. Pray for help. All the time. Make it a habit. It doesn't have to be kneel down in a quiet place and say a formal prayer. It can be, please God, help me. That's it. When you feel that mama thermometer and you're just about to burst, please, Heavenly Father, help me. Please help me to be patient. He'll be there and he will help you. He will help you. Okay? So make that a habit. I'm still working on it, but you guys work on that too. Okay? Even if you are not religious and you don't think there's a God, totally possible. If that's you, I don't care. Say it anyway, because it will be a very good reminder to yourself that you need to step back, take a deep breath, and try another direction and avoid yelling. That is awesome, Amanda. That makes a big difference. Okay, so then I would also recommend doing some research on patience and motherhood. We become moms and it's like, oh, it comes naturally. You'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like, why is there no training on how to be a mother? This is like the most important job on the planet, because we are creating the next generation of leaders. Why does no one teach us how to do this? We learn a lot from our moms, absolutely, and from other women around us. We learn just by observation, but why are there no classes? Come on, y'all. We need to step it up, and we need to educate ourselves in motherhood. Things like this. Things like, if you are spiritual, research patience in your scriptures and take notes. Research motherhood and take notes. It's going to completely transform the way you view your job as a mom, okay? And it's going to help take it from this ordeal that we have to get through to the most fulfilling part of your life. That's the direction I want to go. I want to be so fulfilled as a mom that my heart just swells when I'm with my kids. And I don't know if that's possible, but that's where I'm headed. That's what I want to work on. So do some research, do some reading, do some learning, and if there are women around you, older women that you've always admired and you feel like, man, how do they keep it all together? Ask. Go ask. Just say, hey, can we go to lunch one day? Hey, would you mind if I give you a call sometime? I have a couple questions. Hey, how in the world are you so patient with your kids when they're that naughty? Just ask. More than likely, they're going to say, oh, that's not the whole story. I'm not always that way. But they might be able to give you a little bit of wisdom. They might be able to say, you know, I just always think right before I yell, this thought goes through my head. They might have one little nugget of wisdom that's going to completely change the way you mom your kids. Okay? Yeah, Andrea, we totally need a manual. The other thing that really helps me, if you guys follow me at all, then this is going to be like broken record, okay? But I don't care because it's absolutely 100% applicable, okay? My miracle morning saves my bacon every day. If you're not familiar with my miracle morning, I did a webinar about it last month and I can get you that link, so just let me know. But basically the concept is you wake up early before your kids. I wake up at 4:45 every day. Yes, I know, it's early. No, I'm not a morning person, or I wasn't before I started this. You can change that part of yourself too, okay? But the concept is that you wake up early to take care of you before the kids are up. I wake up and I work out, I read my scriptures, I pray, I read my personal development, I journal, I visualize whatever it is that I'm working toward. There have been many mornings where I visualize being that mom that I want to be. And I do affirmations. So just positive affirmations. Go to Pinterest, literally, and type in affirmations, and the world is your oyster. Go to YouTube and type in affirmations. That's actually what I do. I will listen to a YouTube of affirmations while I visualize on Pinterest about some trip that I want to take my kids on or whatever it is. Those are the things that I do every single morning, okay? And then guess what happens? I finish all of my stuff and my kids are still asleep. And I get to wake them up. And I feel amazing. Amazing. I've accomplished so much. I am so positive. I have so much good stuff rolling around in my brain. When I go to wake them up, I'm like opening the curtains. Good morning, rise and shine. And I'm kissing on them and loving on them and like so happy. And then I'm making them a big breakfast and like loving the fact that I get to wake my kids up. Okay? Now, I don't know if this is you, but before my miracle mornings, here's how it went. Kids go to bed at 8 o'clock. Oh, finally, freedom. We should go to bed at 10 o'clock. I can't. No, just a little bit longer. It's just precious time. No kids. Let's watch another movie. We finally go to bed at midnight. Kids come in, 7 o'clock. Mom, I'm hungry. Mom, she hit me. Mom. And I'm like, oh, get out. That was my mornings. That was my mornings. For our whole married life, our whole time we've had kids until I implemented the miracle mornings. And I realized every day I'm waking up angry at my kids. Every day I'm waking up and the first thing I say to them is angry and mean and unloving. Every day. And I spend my whole day in that mindset. My whole day is geared around, oh, if they would have just let me sleep in. Oh, if I could just sleep in one day. I want to sleep my whole life away. Now, I wake up 4:45. It was really hard for a while. Some mornings it still is, but there are ways to change your habits. I wake up, I work out, I feel amazing. And my whole day is better. I am so much more able to speak to my kids with love and respect and kindness than if I were to sleep in and be woke up by my kids. It changes everything. And if you don't exercise, you need to do that now. You cannot wait for the day when you no longer have to take care of kids all day. You cannot wait for that day. You have to take care of you, Mom. Because if your cup is empty, how are you going to pour into theirs? You are going to be dragging, you are going to be desperate, and you are going to feel completely hopeless. if you don't fill your cup first. And when you work out, you take care of your body, you give yourself more energy, you teach your kids that it's important to be healthy. So many reasons why you absolutely have to make that a priority. You have to take care of you first. And then you have so much more to give. Yeah, Nikki, our kids still go to bed at 8. Absolutely, unless we're out and about and happen to be doing things. But they still get in bed at 8, and we allow them to read now. And our big kids can read a little bit longer, but they're in bed at 8. Because that is important. It is important to have time alone with your spouse. That's a big deal, and we all need a break, and that's okay. But the change is not being desperate. Not being desperate for that time and not counting down, oh my gosh, 4 hours till bedtime. I don't want to live my life that way, and I don't want their childhood to be that way, with a mom who's just desperate to get rid of them. I don't want that for my kids. So the miracle morning, filling your cup, is so important. Right now, I still go to bed about 10. I do. So I don't aim for 8 hours of sleep anymore, and I don't need it. I really don't. There's actually a book that taught me this whole routine. It's called The Miracle Morning. Hold on. And one of the things he talks about is that he did a lot of research on sleep and how much sleep do we really need. And there's a million different opinions. But the interesting thing to me was that your body doesn't need sleep. Your body is a machine. And as long as you're fueling it, hydrating it, your body can go indefinitely. It doesn't need sleep. Your brain needs sleep. It's your brain that needs that shutdown time to continue functioning fully. It's not your body, it's your brain. That was a really interesting realization to me. And then he went on to make the claim that you really can survive on 3 hours or 4 hours. It's all in your mindset. So when you go to bed, oh my gosh, I'm going to be so tired tomorrow. Well, guess what? You're going to be tired. If you go to bed and you're like 4 hours, I got this, that's plenty. Then you're going to pop out of bed and you're going to be like, no problem, great day. So making that shift to realizing that sleep is a mental thing and not a physical thing was really interesting to me, and that really helped me. Let me see if I missed anything else. Yeah, 4:45 sounds super early if you are not a morning person. I didn't start at that. I started at 6, and then I moved to 5:30, and then what happens is you do this routine with all of those things I told you, and you love it so much that you're like, I want more. I don't want to stop. Okay, I want to read more. I want to do this some more. I want to have more time to journal. And so you just kind of slowly bump it up until you land at a time that allows you enough time to do everything you want to do in the mornings. Okay, what else did I miss? It keeps scrolling up so that I'm missing. Anna, thank you for admitting that, because it's been really hard for me when I do these webinars not to yell at my kids if they're naughty, like, you know, because it's such a habit that a lot of times I'll be like, just 1 second, and then I have to go, you better be quiet, you know. So that has been a huge shift for me, to try and just break the habit and make it just enough hesitancy before you yell that you can insert those thoughts of, please help me, don't yell, you know, just enough to hesitate before you yell, and you can usually control it a little bit better. Chanel has implemented her Miracle Mornings, and Kim, they've both implemented them over the last month, would you say? Maybe month and a half, since my last webinar about my Miracle Morning, and they have rocked it. It has been so fun to see how much they've blossomed as moms and as women, just adding this routine into their lives. It's so, so good. So I don't want to keep you guys all day. This is probably already way long. I talk a lot, but that's okay because there's a lot to say. There's so many things you can do to improve the way you talk to your kids. It's not easy. It's not going to happen overnight. You can't read this book one time and just got it. I'm a master. It doesn't work that way. You're going to have to read it again, and you're going to have to read it again, and you're going to have to read other books, and you're going to have to practice frequently and remind yourself frequently until it does become easier. And it does. It really does become easier. I think you'll be really surprised at how quickly you see the changes in your children and your relationship with your children. That's how it's been for me. My relationship with them has been 100% turned over. And I can feel when that starts to slide. If I'm slipping and I'm not being as cautious as I need to be, I can feel our relationship start to pull. I don't want that. I don't want that. I love the feeling of feeling so close to them and knowing that they love to be with me. They love to talk to me. They love to share their day with me. Being willing to set aside whatever I'm doing and look them in the eye while they tell me about their day. It's powerful and it's beautiful and it feels amazing and it's worth every bit of effort. But we're moms, we're wives, we're neighbors, we're friends, we're housekeepers. Many of us are businesswomen. We've got a lot going on. And the biggest thing that you hear from moms is there's not enough time in the day. I don't have enough time. I'm buried. I'm drowning. I can't keep up with it. How does everyone do it all? I can't keep up. And here I am telling you, okay, go back to school. You need to read another book and you need to add this extra hour of study time and practice. And oh, you need to add in exercise. And I know that some of you are back there going, sounds great, lady, but when am I supposed to do all this, right? And that is why the Miracle Morning is so crucial, as well as support. Having a support network to hold you accountable to it. You know what? My house has not been totally clean since I moved in December. It is what it is. Kitchen's clean, the floor's a mess. The whole, public space is clean and it looks amazing. My bedroom is toast. I'm in my bedroom right now. I didn't really make my bed. I just made the corner of my bed. I don't have time for that. Okay, so accept the fact that you're not the perfect Susie homemaker. It's okay. Because when your relationships are pure love and your family feels that love, they're not going to be upset that your house isn't perfect all the time. They're not. They don't care. You're going to get used to it because you're going to learn to love that time with your family. My kids are on spring break this week. That's why I did this so early, because we have some adventures to go on. And I'm excited to spend that time with them and just go and do things together and not be distracted by, oh, we should clean the house. It's hard for me to be with them in our house when it's messy and I get up and go clean. So, Nikki, what I'll do is I'll post the link to that webinar in this event page and I'll see if it'll let me tag you. But I will post it after I close out so that you can have access to that. Yeah, Kim, I could never wake up that early. You can do it. You just need some guidance, okay? So I want to invite you, all of you, to join me. I am going to focus big time on my relationship with my kids for at least, ongoing, but for this next month, it is my focus. If you're not familiar with what I do, like I mentioned, I'm a Beachbody coach and I run online fitness accountability groups. So we do our workouts at home and we eat healthy and we drink Shakeology and it's amazing and we support each other in our groups. But this month I'm adding this in because I work with mostly moms and I am 100% certain that this, combined with taking care of yourself, is going to transform your home life. 100% certain. So what I'm going to do is for the month of April, we're going to be focusing on this with our challenge group. We're going to have some questions from the book every day to help you just continue to remember what you've read and talk about how you're implementing it at home. And then we'll also still do, how was your workout? What did you eat today? We're gonna do it all because it's all tied together. When mom is healthy, mom is lots more capable of loving her kids. When mom feels miserable and sick and tired all the time, she's gonna snap at her kids a lot more quickly. So we're gonna take care of mom first and we're gonna work on our relationship with our kids. So I want to invite you guys to join me for that. If you are at a place where you need the support, something just like this every day, okay? We have this kind of camaraderie and friendship and support and encouragement and community every day. And it has absolutely transformed me to have my tribe of women to back me up when I'm just like, I can't do it today. And then they say, yeah, you can. Go try this. And then I'm like, okay, I can't. Okay? So I want to invite you to join me. If that is something that you're interested in, will you please comment here and just say, give me the details or something like that. And I will message you privately and give you all the information about how you can join that group. Everyone who does jump in on that group by the end of this month is going to get a copy of this from me for free. You can have either the hardback, or if sitting down to read a book sounds like torture, I will send you the audio version. I listen to audiobooks all the time when I'm like cleaning and cooking and driving, and it's awesome. So you will get your choice of either the audio or the physical copy when you join our Fit Camp. And it's going to be amazing. I'm really excited about it. So I hope you guys will join us. And if you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm not a professional. I'm not a pro in any way. I'm still just implementing this in my own home. I almost didn't do this webinar because I feel so inadequate of sharing this, but I feel like it's something I need a tribe to work on it with me. So I decided to share what I've done so far, and we can fine tune it from there. And let's just do this together, okay? Let's be the moms our kids deserve, because we can. We can change who we are. Tara, I will send you a message. Sweet. Awesome, girls. I will send you some information as soon as I wrap this up. And I will also, Nikki, I will post that Miracle Morning webinar. I will post the link in the event page here shortly. So the hooligans are coming. Do you want to say
hi? Hi. We're ready, Mom.
Okay, I'm done. Do you want to say goodbye?
Bye.
We're going to go have some adventures now, right?
Right.
Okay. See you guys. I hope you have a fabulous day.